Hello and welcome to our presentation on online learning models for the K-12 sector by Ashley Hope, Jesse Branch, Allison Doris, Talicia John, and Tasha Cohen.
These are the analysis questions that prompted our research. What is the predominant online learning delivery method? What models are guiding this sector's approach to blended learning? What are the commonalities and differences between models? What are the two key components of online learning that are emphasized in this sector? What are the challenges? What are the successes? And finally, where is the future of online learning focused in this sector?
What is the predominant online learning delivery method? The main delivery method used in the K-12 sector is blended learning. This is traditional face-to-face component supplemented by an online component. The approach to blended learning may look different because of the assets available. Learning management systems, also known as LMS, provide online access to course information and communication with teachers and peers. Some examples of learning management systems used in the K-12 sector are Moodle, Google Classroom, Blackboard, and Desire to Learn.
What models are guiding this sector's approach to blended learning? The face-to-face driver model is an approach that allows students to work at his or her own pace, whether that be above or below grade level. The rotation model involves learning stations where students may have to take turns with online access. There's station rotation, which includes computer access as an area in the classroom. There's lab rotation, where students have class time in a computer lab. The flipped classroom is where course content is primarily online and is supported by the in-class component. And the individual rotation is when each student has their own schedule, which is based on their own needs. We also have the flex model, which is a program where content and instruction are delivered primarily on the internet and is supported by campus support for tutoring and small group work. The enriched virtual model allows students to spend most of their time completing coursework online and is supplemented by required in-person learning sessions with their teacher.
What are some of the commonalities and differences between models? Individual rotation differs from station and lab rotation because students rotate on an individual schedule set by a teacher rather than in class. Rotation and face-to-face driven models are similar because they both allow students to work at their own current level of mastery. Enriched virtual differs from the flipped classroom model in the balance of online to face-to-face instruction time. Station rotation and lab rotation are similar, allowing the student to rotate through stations on a fixed schedule. The flex model and the enriched virtual model are similar because the learning is primarily done online with the teacher in a more of a facilitating role.
Two key components of online learning that are emphasized in this sector are infrastructure and assessment. Just like the infrastructure in a city, this refers to how a blended learning environment is set up. The main way we see blended learning implemented in the K-12 sector is to have internet components that can be accessed to support in-class activities. Online activity is usually organized in a learning management system where students may retrieve and practice course materials. They can do them and submit assignments, communicate with their teachers and other students as well. Teachers can decide on setting up a classroom using a learning management software or game that are geared to children. These can be Prodigy or Raz Kids or etc. and these games support the learning being done in the classroom and can be done outside of the classroom as well. Assessment is embedded in the learning process. It is tightly interconnected with curriculum and instruction. Some types of these assessment used with the blended learning includes paper and pencil tests and assignments that are submitted in person, live presentations, labs, performances or exhibits of skills, electronic portfolios, online discussions, online surveys and quizzes, or web conferences. Also, assignments such as essays, worksheets, slideshows, photographs, and videos submitted to electronic drop boxes.
What are the challenges and what are the successes? Some challenges include not all students have the self-discipline to participate in online learning. Students may get distracted from their task at hand. Technology does not always work. Students may not be accountable for their work. It may not be accessible for children with mobility issues as well as some physical disabilities. Some students may not be able to balance between online learning versus traditional learning. Some learners may lack the self-motivation, and the cost to repair devices can be quite expensive. Some successes include class involvement increases, independence increases, leadership and organizational skills increases. It is a good motivator for students. Educators can see where their students are having their challenges and they can address them accordingly. Educators can see where their students' strengths are and they can build on them. Educators can make learning fun, which increases participation. It is flexible in the sense that students can work at their own pace, and is accessible because students are able to work from a device at home. Where is the future of online learning focused in this sector from K to 12? More flexible program designs, more use of open educational resources, more creative assessment processes. Learners will no longer be defined by time, place, or institutional offerings. Learners will create their own learning agendas, which reflect on their own career, personal, and lifelong learning goals. Learners will secure their learning outcomes through a combination of formal, informal, self-directed, and instructor-delivered in-class and online learning. Educators will have more of an engaging and meaningful interaction with their students. Learners will have the opportunity for more experimental and inquiry-based learning. Learners will develop skills that will reflect on their future education. Educators will have an easier time with documentation and assessment through the organizational tools provided. Educators and students will have the opportunity to collaborate and meet other educators and students all over the world.